G'day, it's Fitzy and Whipper here.
And welcome to 20 to 1.
Tonight, we count down the best classic TV characters.
It's the biggest show in the world, right?
Bad bosses to mob bosses.
You're the boss. That's right. I am.
He's one of those guys that you just like.
To warrior women and simmering sex pots.
Hey, how you doing?
They're the TV characters we love.
He's the most beautiful idiot on television.
We've got a fantastic countdown tonight as we celebrate the classic TV characters of recent times.
From sitcoms to mockumentaries and crime dramas, these are the funniest, sexiest and even most dangerous creations of the small screen.
Funny, sexy and dangerous. Sounds like a TV version of Tinder.
Well, funny you should say that, because at number 20 tonight, it's a character no woman in their right mind would date, even if he was the last bloke on Tinder.
Let me have a guess. Blake Garvey from The Bachelor. Got to be Blake Garvey.
Well, it's kind of a reverse Blake, because this guy's all brains, no brawn, and his name is Sheldon Cooper.
All right, you people ready to have some fun? You have a basic understanding of differential calculus and at least 1 year about algebraic topology? Well, here come the jokes.
Can't you see I'm white and nerdy? Look at me, I'm white and nerdy.
At 20, it's the nerdiest nerd in TV history.
Greetings, friends.
Sheldon Cooper from The Big Bang Theory.
You're in my spot.
While he's less in touch with his emotions than the average toaster, he's got an IQ that's off the charts.
You can start sorting protons and neutrons while I build carbon atoms.
He's this genius. He's kind of disconnected from being a person.
Ha!
What is he doing?
Finding the acoustic sweet spot.
Look at me, I'm white and nerdy.
For a guy with such extraordinary intellect, how can he be so socially misguided?
Sometimes people seek the comfort of physical contact in moments like this.
I am not flying back to Texas just so my mom can give me a hug.
Because Sheldon is so rational, when something emotional comes along, he's just not quite sure what to do. His eyes are popping and he breaks down like a computer. It's the best.
I've seen him at his best. I've seen him at his worst. There's nothing he can do that'll surprise me.
For his eccentric weirdness, Sheldon is the craziest character in a show so popular it's about to go into its 10th season.
The show wasn't meant to be about Sheldon, but, you know, he's the breakout star.
And actor Jim Parsons has 4 Emmys to prove it.
Oh, this is so odd for so many reasons.
For Jim Parsons, The Big Bang Theory has become the big bucks reality, with the actor earning as much as $44 million a year. Talk about revenge of the nerds.
Bazinga, punk, now we're even.
Would you mind opening my package?
At 19, it's the woman who brought the sexiest sex to Sex and the City.
Sexiest sex? Is that even a thing?
Samantha Jones gave us all permission to be sexual beings without owning any kind of shame or guilt or caring what other people thought.
I will wear whatever and blow whomever I want as long as I can breathe and kneel.
She's probably a 70s girl at heart when, you know, promiscuity was compulsory when I was growing up.
This is why I've never lived with a man. This and the fact that I want them out an hour after I climax.
Most human beings at the end of the day do want to settle down and live happily ever after. And you know what? Ultimately, Samantha Jones did too.
My name is Samantha and I'm a loveaholic. Hi, Samantha.
British-Canadian actress Kim Cattrall played saucy Sam Jones over 6 TV seasons and in 2 movie spin-offs.
Samantha honestly was, I think, the most complex, the most well-written and the most kick-ass female character of that foursome.
Kim Cattrall first steamed up our screens in the 80s teen comedy Porky's.
And she was pretty arresting in Police Academy.
Now 59 and still looking amazing, Kim has recently been doing acclaimed stage work in London and New York.
But Samantha Jones might return, with Kim saying recently she'd be up for a 3rd movie.
She's a brilliant creation. I love her.
I love you too, but I love me more.
I'm Mr. Lover.
She call me Mr. Boom.
Shimmying into number 18, it's Mr. Bean, beloved because he's elevated slapstick comedy into a TV art form.
Rowan Atkinson is a physical comic genius.
This is a character who is basically a mime, but so engaging.
You could watch that with the sound off and still laugh.
Because he doesn't rely on dialogue, Mr. Bean has been shown in almost 200 countries. He's even been a big hit in North Korea.
I mean, the scene where he meets the Queen is still one of my favourite moments. Mr. Bean is always trying, even though he's only trying to overcome himself.
Mr. Bean sprang from the comic imagination of Rowan Atkinson in 1990. Bizarrely, he considered calling the character Mr. Cauliflower.
Mr. Bean was so popular, he spawned 2 blockbuster movies.
Don't forget the cartoon series. They're still making that for fans young and old.
You can really like him a lot as a character while still hoping that you never ever meet him.
You wouldn't believe the crap people let me get away with.
At number 17, it's Dr. Gregory House, the man who forever changed our view of TV medicos.
It's just finally broken the mould of the TV doctor. And you love the fact that he's rude and obnoxious.
Your wife is having an affair.
What?
You're orange, you moron. It's one thing for you not to notice, but if your wife hasn't picked up on the fact that her husband has changed colors, she's just not paying attention.
He was such a flawed character, having a drug addiction, and you never knew what you were going to get with him.
If I'm in a buttload of pain, I need a buttload of pills.
I love that for him, he doesn't care. I think people love that he just kind of doesn't give a toss, because for him, it's all about the puzzle.
Over 8 seasons from 2004, House and his team kept us enthralled as they diagnosed the world's weirdest medical conditions.
There's neurosis to sarcosis, precipitous rise syndrome, sarcoidosis.
Is there anything for that?
He could fix anything. It seemed like he could bring people back from almost the death, but then he's got a bit of a hobble and he goes, I don't know what to do with this. This is well beyond my jurisdiction.
People used to have more respect for cripples, you know. They didn't really.
It's done so well by Hugh Laurie because he is a comedian.
Better known for English comedy, Hugh Laurie was an unexpected choice to headline this American drama.
I'd seen him in Blackadder being the Prince Regent, and it's the funniest.
I'm a roarer, a rogerer, a gorger, and a puker.
He's the most magnificent comic actor. And then he gets House. I was like, oh, they finally discovered how great he is. Well done, Hugh. Hope you're making heaps of cash.
Got change for $1?
Still to come.
I don't care what you say, you fat lesbian.
The world's worst schoolgirl.
Jermaine was just a...
Shameless womanizers and beautiful minds. But who will take our top spot? Welcome back to 20 to 1 as we continue our countdown of classic TV characters all the way through to number 1, the greatest of all time.
At number 16 is the central character of a recent hit series, and he's one of the most flawed, complex and compelling in TV history.
Yeah, he's so original, unlike anything ever seen before.
Painting is a fake. I've solved it. I figured it out.
At number 16, it's the greatest detective of all time. In the stylish reboot of Sherlock Holmes that brought him, deducing into the 21st century.
Very clever the way they took this classic 100-year-old story and made it modern.
In your face modern.
I think it's cheating, though, that Sherlock Holmes can Google stuff on his iPhone. You know, come on. The guy's meant to be this intuitive genius.
That show embraced technology in a really beautiful way. This was kind of the first time you saw a TV show manage to capture that.
But we're also intrigued because he remains so cool and detached.
Actually, when he warms up, he's a bit of a worry.
They're not suicides, they're killings, serial killings. We got ourselves a serial killer.
That's why he works in the show, because he's a little bit, you know, not socially awkward, but just there's something not quite right about him.
Be supremely intelligent and emotionally backward, because he is, because he's odd.
I was wondering if you'd like to have coffee.
Black, 2 sugars, please. I'll be upstairs.
Every bit as odd as the character is the name of the actor who plays him.
Bernadette Cumberbund.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
The most English name you could ever have. I mean, he could, by default, change his name to Devonshire Tea. And that's less English than where he's at right now.
You could call him an overnight sensation.
Benedict Cumberbatch has made Sherlock his own since taking the role in 2010. And despite having distinctive looks, he's somehow become the thinking woman's sex symbol.
It's good that they actually recognise that not everybody looks like Hugh Jackman.
Cumberbatch looks like an otter. It's gone viral. There's pictures of otters next to him. What an animal to be compared to.
Can you do that? Can you try?
Is this a casting for my next role as an otter?
I'm Carl Williams. Mind if I sit down for a sec?
Blasting his way into 15th spot, it's real-life crook Carl Williams, as played by actor Guyton Grantley in 2008's cracking Aussie crime drama Underbelly.
Carl, my old mate. What a quintessential Australian character in real life and on television.
Carl Williams became so notorious for murders, conspiracy to murder, drug use, drug dealing, a whole variety of things. I mean, he was a real rogue, that one.
I think it's in the casting. And to have this murderer played by this cherubic, sweet actor made him really likeable.
I'm going to be a bloke that makes so much dough, I can buy a chick like you whatever she wants.
To put the belly into Underbelly, jovial Aussie actor Guyton Grantley stacked on 12 kilos to play the Melbourne heavy.
I guess my main preparation involved donuts and pizza, fine appreciation of filler tracksuits.
It was Australia's answer to The Sopranos, somehow. I mean, this shit goes on.
If Steve Owen comes looking for me, there's a gun under the pillow.
You've got this character who just seems like an absolute fool, who's a clown, who doesn't know what he's doing, and inside that person is a criminal genius.
You put your guns away. Mate, it's over.
Guyton Grantley is incredibly charismatic, such a good actor, so believable in that role, and he's also kind of a lovable buffoon.
No, I don't see nothing like that. Must have been too dark. It's really easy. Basically, you just put your hands like this, put your head back, and then you just talk like this, and then you're Carl Williams. It's really simple. Acting's not that hard. It's really, really quite simple.
Underbelly was such a sensation when it hit our screens, a drama ripped from the headlines, fascinating and scary.
You know they couldn't screen it in Victoria.
And in true Underbelly style, everyone just downloaded it illegally.
It's what Carl Williams would have wanted.
You're right. But as scary as Carl Williams was, he's not the scariest character to appear on Australian TV.
No, not by a long shot. I tell you who really frightens me, an upper-class schoolgirl called Jemay.
At 14, it's the 17-year-old schoolgirl played by a 40-something bloke, Jemay King. This character first made us laugh in We Can Be Heroes and Summer Heights High before getting her very own show in 2013.
Chris Lilly captures in Jemay an attitude and a lingo that is just so authentic sounding. I mean, he looks like a man in a frock, but you forget.
I had a different friend group last year, but I had to get rid of them because, like, Brianna, my bestie, was like, she kind of got really weird and fat.
The reason Chris Lilly gets away with his stuff is because I think he actually gets it spot on.
Miss you guys.
It's actually quite terrifying how good Chris Lilly is at being a teenage schoolgirl.
When you watch that show, you see a female. You don't even think of it, a guy dressed as a lady.
The thing Jemay does not have is any sweetness or kindness. She is really a sociopath.
I don't care what you say, you fat lesbian, Erin. Seriously, can you get them to go away?
Everyone who went to a co-ed high school or an all-girls high school knows someone like Jemay.
Can you stop staring at me, Asian guy? Seriously, are you right?
I went to school at Rough at the time that he was putting these characters together, and the accuracy is just, it's wonderful.
Get back inside! Get out of the party! Seriously, I told you, it's a no-parent party!
In 2014, Chris Lilly won the Silver Logie for playing Jemay. Chris Lilly.
While all his characters are outrageous and outspoken, in real life, Chris is so shy in private, he doesn't even do television interviews.
Even cool kitty Katy Perry was reduced to a drooling fangirl.
I heard you're shy, but I am not.
Chris Lilly's range of characters made him a comedy chameleon.
And for that, I applaud Chris Lilly.
I'm learning to be me. I'm learning to be me.
One of the girls who I lied to, seduced, and abandoned is trying to ruin my life. It shouldn't be too hard to figure out which one it is.
Suit up, because at Lucky 13, it's the well-dressed and oversexed Barney Stinson.
Oh, dear God.
Neil Patrick Harris in How I Met Your Mother, completely over the top, playing an absolute womanizer and just nailing the part.
The show ran for 9 seasons from 2005, winning fans as a hilariously relatable look at 5 friends' romantic lives.
Get a suit. Suits are cool. Exhibit A.
But us blokes were all in awe of Barney for his suit-loving and skirt-chasing ways.
Wow, you have enormous penis syndrome? I've never heard of that.
Yeah, that's the problem with EPS, lack of awareness.
He brought a kind of self-deprecating, comedic relief to that show that the other characters didn't.
I'm 31. I'm at the peak of my physical beauty.
He would just come in and say something ridiculous and kind of made the show the legendary show that it is.
Trust me, it's gonna be legendary. It's gonna be legendary. It's gonna be legendary. This party is legend. Wait for it.
Dairy.
I think he's endearing. I don't know. I kind of like Barney. He's the kind of guy that you want to go and have a few drinks with.
But you could just tell he'd just be a good night if you hang out with him.
Get this, Barney Stinson wrote 4 real-life self-help books.
Not bad for a fictional character.
But actor Neil Patrick Harris is nothing like his character Barney. That's because he's a gay man, married to his long-term partner, and a dedicated dad to their twin children.
So you're saying he was acting?
For an openly gay man, he plays a really great straight dude.
Guess who nailed the chick from Metro News 1 last night?
We know that man is not interested in bedding women. Maybe that's part of the reason the character gets away with it. Like, it's not actually that threatening because you're like, it's all pretend.
When the show ended, Neil was offered David Letterman's old job, but he turned it down, which was good news for Stephen Colbert.
True story.
Up next,
the boss from hell.
You know, everyone at work's got someone like him.
And the doctor is in the house.
It is really much more fun to watch eccentric people on screen.
Making us cringe and cry with laughter. At number 12, it's David Brent from British sitcom The Office. This character hit home because, let's be honest, who hasn't had a tosser for a boss?
What? Everyone at work's got someone like him.
You will never work in a place like this again. This is brilliant. Fact. Yeah? And you'll never have another boss like me, someone who's basically a chilled-out entertainer.
Watching David Brent is an exercise in exquisite embarrassment, making unfunny the new funny.
It's a perfectly crafted character.
Just another normal day at the office, isn't it? Just a normal day, isn't it? So, what? What are you laughing at?
David Brent invented cringe comedy. It was a new genre when it came along, and suddenly everyone's doing it. Fly-on-the-wall style, mockumentary feel.
If that's true, excellent.
It had to be mockumentary because all of his self-belief in the pieces to camera, that's what makes David Brent so funny.
I don't care if you're black, brown, yellow. Yeah, Orientals make very good workers, for example.
It's a bit of a parody on society and how we, how we think that our lot, whatever it is so important.
We are one big happy family here, yeah? Now, I've been trying to welcome you new guys. I didn't want you here, but you're here now, so, well done. Welcome.
I think when you look up cringeworthy in the dictionary, there's a picture of Ricky Gervais's David Brent. Or maybe just Ricky Gervais.
Hello. All right.
Yeah.
Is Monkey in there?
Oh, yeah.
You all right?
Yeah, no, I was expecting a blind date and I was worried you were it.
The fact that his character is just so fleshed out and so real and so relatable, it's incredible.
The Office only ran for 2 seasons until Gervais pulled the pin, but it spawned a successful US remake that ran for 9 seasons.
Sorry, mate. Oh, sorry, mate. Excuse me. Wait.
And it made Ricky Gervais a megastar.
I've got 3 Golden Globes myself, so I can say one's a doorstop, one I use to hit burglars with, and one I keep by the bed to... Doesn't matter why, it's mine. It's mine. It's mine.
And now he's bringing David Brent back in a movie.
Keep the noise down. Nah, turn it up.
We all know a loser like David Brent. There's one in every office or group.
Yeah, even groups of 2.
Yep, and the sad thing is, they don't even have a clue it's them.
Not a clue at all.
Yeah, and as we're counting down to our huge number 1, we've got an Australian character who's as awkward as David Brent and just as clueless.
Except when it comes to her specialist subjects, netball, skin conditions, and the taste of Warnie's tongue.
Sorry, but you're tragic. I am not tragic, Kim.
At 11, from Kath and Kim, it's tragic Sharon Strzelecki.
She's a crack. I love her.
Magda Szubanski first created Sharon over 20 years ago.
Planning to send you and Brett on a specific cruise.
Since then, we've loved her as Kim's second best friend. Over 4 TV seasons, 1 telly movie and a feature film.
I know that I'm not an immediate beacon for guys. I know that I'm not an obvious hornbag.
We all know someone like her who hasn't quite hit her straps, and so we just feel such compassion for her.
Sharon, you're very unlucky in love, aren't you?
It's that vulnerability and lovability about a character that makes them funny on the one hand, but the sadness with Sharon is quite profound.
I was scared, Kim.
But people loved Kath and Kim because it had so much heart, and Sharon Strzelecki was a big part of the heart of that show.
Nobody cares.
That's not true, Kim. I care.
You just needed somebody else there so you could demonstrate just how cruel and horrible Kim is.
You can never be me. You haven't got it. No, Kim!
I feel like she has a couple of moments where she stands up for herself.
You just don't think, do you, Sharon? I think too much, Kim. That's my whole problem.
But mostly her role is a punching bag for Kim.
She is an underdog and we wanted her to do well.
And there were occasions where Sharon did do well.
That's what it looks like.
Well, it looks like you've been having sex.
Oh, well, then it is what it looks like.
Even scoring a pash with a spunky Heath Ledger.
But Sharon's biggest romantic moment came when she was bowled over by none other than Shane Warne.
Bless her. You wanted to do so well.
OK, I'll leave you to it then.
I'm a psychiatrist too. Dr. Fraser Crane.
Kicking off our top 10, it's the Seattle psychiatrist, Fraser Crane.
In order to prevent spillage, one does not simply twist out the cork. Instead, one holds the cork stationary, see? And then gives the bottle 3 easy turns. 1.
There wasn't many characters like him on TV at the time, or ever, you know? This elitist, highbrow, almost condescending character.
Did you see my new chess set?
Oh, yeah, it's nice.
Nice, but the inlay was made from the same travertine marble they used at Hadrian's Palace outside Tivoli.
Really? Well, I'm going to celebrate with a beverage brewed from the crystal clear waters of the majestic Colorado Rockies.
We first met Fraser Crane in a Boston bar called Cheers.
I have no intention of entering a debate with those cold, grey eyes and those clever, smirking lips. I'd rather clip my nails than a Cuisinart.
I don't know what it is about this guy, because it's not really someone we can relate to as such.
Excuse me, did I say decaf?
No, you didn't.
Oh, I'm sorry. You know, if I drink the regular stuff, it'll keep me tossing and turning all through my brother's conversation.
Fraser is fun to watch because he's being punished for being too clever.
Checkmate. Well, that's it. Show's over, folks. Move along. Nothing more to see here.
You know, Dad.
No.
And the funniest parts of that show often come from his relationships with the people around him.
It hasn't changed your life, has it, you sherry-swilling, foie gras-munching hypocrite?
Kelsey Grammer put the knob into snob for 20 wonderful years across Cheers and Frasier, and we loved him for it.
Frasier was a gift in my life, and the people that I got to meet and work with were the greatest gift, and this is just the cherry on top.
It is really much more fun to watch eccentric people on screen.
I should register this dressing gown with the love police.
It gives you permission to be a little bit more odd yourself.
Coming up, the lady killer.
You'll still sleep with your missus, but you feel bad about it.
And the killer lady.
Khaleesi is every fantasy nerd's dream girl.
But who will be tonight's number one?
At number 9, it's the friend we all wish we had. If only because he'd make anyone look like Einstein.
Oh, you almost had me.
Matt LeBlanc's Joey Tribbiani on Friends was comic gold because he had a soft heart.
And an even softer head.
Are you wearing makeup?
Yes, I am. As of today, I am officially Joey Tribbiani, actor/model.
He was such a playful puppy dog. He was funny and he was lovable.
Stop! Everybody was just ready for the not quite as successful hero, and that's what he is so beautifully.
He's as dumb as a box full of hammers.
When I first moved to the city, I went out a couple times with this girl, really hot, great kisser, but she had the biggest Adam's apple.
Joey, women don't have Adam's apples.
We've all got one of those mates. They love people, they love life. They're like a Labrador, I suppose.
What about you, Joe? What would you give up, sex or food?
Food. No, sex. Food. Sex. Food. I don't know. Oh, God, I want both. I want girls on bread.
Let's get ridiculous!
Joey's catchphrase was as simple as Joey.
I look a woman up and down and I say, hey, how you doing?
Yeah, and it launched 1 billion bad pickup lines.
How you doing?
How you doing?
How you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing?
It's never gonna work, is it, mate?
How you doing?
How you doing?
Oh, very good. You see yourself as Joey, don't you?
Yeah. A little bit smarter, probably better looking.
Right, yep, sure.
Who do you see yourself as then?
Don Draper, Mad Men.
Really, you see yourself like that?
Yep.
Mate, have you ever seen Don Draper?
Yeah.
OK, everyone, all right, judge for yourself. Here we go. Here's Whipper. Commit that face to memory. It's probably etched in your mind already. Got it? OK, here's Don Draper. At number 8, it's the impossibly handsome John Hamm, playing Mad Men's impossibly handsome Don Draper.
See, I told you, mate. Spitting image. Mad Men is set in the advertising world in New York in the 1960s.
This handsome fellow is Don Draper, the best creative director in New York.
Well, at least the building. Pleasure to meet you.
Women are drawn to Don Draper because there's a certain danger there. He has these incredible manners, but then he's also the bad boy.
You can tell your boss that you charmed me.
Don Draper is suave and cool and handsome and probably the cleverest guy in the room.
And he needs to be, because smooth-talking, hard-drinking and ever-so-sexist Don is riding the wave of the advertising boom of the 1960s.
He reflected the era of the time, and that was why we liked it.
I'm not going to let a woman talk to me like this. This meeting is over. Good luck, Miss Megan.
What's astonishing to me is that he manages to make alcoholism look sexy.
Gin for breakfast and oysters for morning tea. Yeah, I'd hate to clean up the bathrooms at that ad company. Holy moly.
Oh, just because I can't call you doesn't mean you can't call me.
Hello.
He's got a really strong moral compass when it comes to work and how people should be treated in the work environment, and then he goes home and has an affair. Because he's conflicted, that's what makes him interesting to us.
It's just so strange, my wife watches that show. Oh, he's so sexy as he's smoking and having a martini at 9 in the morning. If I do that, what do you think you're doing?
John Hamm also lent his good looks to 30 Rock.
I hate this.
And his dulcet tones to Minions and Shrek.
This is gonna be so fun!
Mad Men will go down as one of the greatest dramas ever. I'm so glad that he finally got, the Emmy and the awards at the end, because I thought he pulled it off magnificently.
Thank you so much.
I am the dragon's daughter, and I swear to you,
that those who would harm you will die screaming.
At number 7, from a show that charts an epic struggle for power in a fictional empire, it's Game of Thrones' Daenerys Targaryen, aka Khaleesi, Mother of Dragons.
Love the dragons.
Dracarys.
She's fascinating because, you know, initially she starts out as this sort of naive young girl. She's almost a sex slave to the Dothraki.
But he's one of the finest killers alive. And you will be his queen.
And then she came in and went, soz, I've got me some dragons and I'm taking over this whole thing.
Even without the dragons, she would be an epic boss biatch.
Since 2011, Khaleesi, played by Emilia Clarke, has won an army of fans as the warrior woman most likely to win the Game of Thrones.
She's got that classic leadership quality too, where people follow her because she's good to them.
Unlike someone else we know.
War means nothing to me. Oh, I can't stand the wailing of women.
Well, I mean, as a preface, I actually don't watch Game of Thrones, so I don't know that much, but from my understanding, I think what a lot of people like is the really strong empowerment of a woman.
I was trying to draw lots of comparisons with as many strong women as I could. Kate Blanchett in Elizabeth, that was something I watched a lot.
Ah, yes, our Kate, leading the way again. And the character's power is so strong that parents all over the world are naming their baby girls Khaleesi.
I hope in the end, her on the throne, dragon one side, a dragon on the other, maybe a hot dude standing there. Best ending to Game of Thrones ever.
Still to come, television's most animated dad.
He's one of those guys that you just like.
And will this badass take out our #1 spot? At number 6, with a bullet, it's the world's most disturbing underwear model. Breaking Bad's Walter White.
Everything that I do, everything, I do it to protect this family.
The journey of that character is unlike anything I've ever seen, you know. A mild-mannered, meek guy at the beginning who becomes kind of world's most kind of feared, hated killer.
Breaking Bad begins when a high school chemistry teacher, Walter White, gets bad news.
You understood what I've just said to you. Yes. Lung cancer. Inoperable.
A dying Walt devises a dodgy plan to secure his family's financial security. And it's not Airbnb.
You want to cook crystal meth? You know the business. And I know the chemistry.
It's such a pleasure to watch a character in complete transition the whole time.
By the end of it, terrifying human being. He's the proof that we've all got full-on darkness inside of all of us.
He gets this first taste of power and he can't let go. I mean, the analogy of addiction, not only with the drug, the meth, but also his addiction to power.
Jesse, you asked me if I was in the meth business or the money business. Neither. I'm in the empire business.
It was the first show where the hero became really unlikable, and now it's turned a bit dark, and oh God, now I'm on the bus to hell with him and I can't get off.
I am not in danger, Skyler. I am the danger.
Casting actor Bryan Cranston was a surprise because most of us only knew him as the inept dad from the sitcom Malcolm in the Middle.
Over 5 seasons from 2008, Cranston won 4 Emmys for Breaking Bad.
I can only say that I have gratitude for everything that has happened.
He also won over Hannibal the Cannibal, with legendary actor Anthony Hopkins writing him a fan letter. But there was outrage when toy stores started selling drug-dealing Walter White action figures complete with a bag of meth.
Meanwhile, Walter White inspired countless Halloween costumes.
But some people don't need a costume.
I've been accused of looking like Walter White. And people say that to me. Mostly it's the people I'm selling meth to, but...
Let me tell you, mate, I was absolutely shocked when Walter died in that last episode. Spoiler alert, everyone.
Whoa. I'll just jump in because you're supposed to say spoiler alert before, not after you've ruined the surprise.
OK, well, that's good. I think I've got the hang of this. Spoiler alert, everyone. Our #1 TV character isn't far away, but right now at number 5, it's Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Who are you?
I'm Buffy, the Vampire Slayer, and you are?
Staking her claim at number 5, it's the sexy, spunky and sarcastic teenage girl born to fight vampires.
It's like a whole big sucking thing. Mostly, they're just gonna kill you. Why am I still talking to you?
People mock Buffy, but the writing on that show is really good.
Isn't that bizarre? Aren't you just going, ooh?
It was the first time you saw an attractive, young female who was kicking ass.
I've always wanted to kill the Slayer.
I've always wanted piano lessons.
She, you know, wanted to be a cheerleader and go to high school, and instead she had this incredibly dark thing that she had to fight every night, but still go to school the next day and finish her studies.
You passed! Oh, good.
She just wants to be normal, but she just has to fight the baddies.
A lot of us were into it because we've been there. We've been in high school.
I think we have problems.
I mean, we had goths, but not actual vampires.
Buffy might have been great at kicking demon butt, but her taste in men sure sucked.
Literally sucked. She fell in love with 2 vampires, Angel and Spike.
Wouldn't it be funny sometime to see each other when it wasn't a blood thing?
What are you saying? You want a date?
Coffee?
Sarah Michelle Gellar burst onto the small screen as Buffy in 1997.
They have you.
From there, she became a sex symbol. Locking lady lips in Cruel Intentions. But how different things could have been. See, Buffy's geeky mate Xander was turned down by Ryan Reynolds, and the role of Buffy was first offered to and rejected by Katie Holmes.
What?
At number 4, it's Seinfeld's self-appointed Lord of the Idiots, George Costanza.
So she sees you with hot fudge on your face and she ends it? Do you really think she'd be that superficial?
Why not? I would be.
Costanza can't stand you. The perennial loser. I love George because he makes me feel good about myself.
Well, I was in the locker room showering, and I had to go, so...
There we go.
Brilliantly played by Jason Alexander, George was one of 4 New York friends with big worries about life's little problems.
Oh, my God. I'm really sorry.
I was in the pool!
Now we all know what shrinkage is.
I think that you think that a certain something is not all that it could be, when in fact, it is all that it should be and more.
The angrier and more frustrated and the more inept he got, the funnier he became.
You're giving me the it's not you, it's me routine? I invented it's not you, it's me. Nobody tells me it's them, not me. If it's anybody, it's me.
George is a scheming weasel. He's another of those characters that you can feel sorry for in a way, but as well as repelled by.
My mother caught me.
Caught you? Doing what?
You know. I was alone.
Obviously got no sense of shame.
I love the scene where he thinks there's a fire and he pushes everyone out of the way.
We needed a leader. Someone to lead the way to safety.
George lies so much that you almost with him on that lie, you want him to get away with it.
But you yelled, "Get out of my way!"
You're scared to see the car crash that's coming.
How do you live with yourself?
It's not easy.
Yeah, when you get a bit older and you have a suitcase of failures of your own, you're like, oh, what a joy George is. He's fantastic.
For I am Costanza, Lord of the Idiots.
17 classic TV characters down, just 3 to go.
Time to step back into the shadows.
Which small screen legend will be our number 1?
He's the most beautiful idiot on television.
Welcome back to 20 to 1 classic TV characters, and we are down to the top 3. That's almost number 1.
Well done, your maths is extraordinary.
Thanking you. Okay, and in 3rd place tonight is a character who's been loved by audiences across an incredible 6 decades.
Who?
Yep.
Who's in 3rd spot?
That's right.
No, just who's number 3, mate?
Absolutely.
Tell me who's in 3rd place.
Yes, who? Doctor Who.
I'm the Doctor. I'm a Time Lord.
At number 3, it's the alien Time Lord who can travel to any point in history.
The endless rebirth of the universe!
And who can regenerate into any body.
Fat lot of good that is.
Heavens. Even though he does seem to have a thing for pasty white dudes from the UK.
I love Doctor Who. I'm such a nerd. Great show.
The thing that's great about Doctor Who is whenever the new Doctor appears, you hate him for the first couple of eps because you're so in love with the previous one, and then you grow to love him, you know, and they're all completely different personalities.
Since 1963, Doctor Who has been inhabited by 12 very different actors, with Scotsman Peter Capaldi the latest to wield the sonic screwdriver.
My favourite Doctor is still the first Doctor, William Hartnell.
John Pertwee, I was during the era of John Pertwee, Tom Baker.
Matt is the best of the new Doctors. He just had style, and the ladies liked him, and that was a new thing for the Doctor.
Fans love Doctor Who despite cheapo effects.
And the fact that the Daleks could only conquer a universe without stairs.
I will go on! Yeah, buddy, let me get the lift for you.
It was all cardboard sets and things like that. But the 60s kids, we were used to that. All our sets were clunky. There was no CGI. But the writing was good, the acting was good.
You touch one wire against the other, and that's it. The Daleks cease to exist.
I'm really happy that the Americans have never tried to remake Doctor Who, because it belongs to that eccentricity that is only so British.
It's all bumpy-wumpy. There's loads of boring stuff like Sundays and Tuesdays and Thursday afternoons.
Travel through space, foil alien. It's sort of that, oh, you're a bit nuts.
Time to step back into the shadows.
Mr. Soprano?
Yeah. Sandrine.
At number 2, it's James Gandolfini's amazing portrayal of mob boss Tony Soprano, who fascinated audiences by reimagining The Godfather as, well, a suburban father.
Are you in the mafia?
Am I in the what?
Oh, yeah, I love Tony Soprano. He was a bad person, and that made him interesting. If you want a badass, he's your man.
You're the boss. That's right. I am.
The Sopranos ran from 1999 to 2007, with Tony shooting, swearing, sexing
and eating
his way into our affections.
The first time I watched him, he was swearing and carrying on, and I'm no prude, but I actually had to turn the TV off.
George Clooney, don't get in the middle of this.
But then there was this sensitive side to him, well, almost forgiving, because in real life we'd be thinking, yeah, good, have a panic attack. You deserve one, you prick.
You have this mob boss, this lethal, heartless, sinister character pouring out their heart and soul.
I've been seeing a therapist.
Oh, my God.
Tony Soprano really brought a humanity to it, and that humanity drew the audience in.
I'm afraid I'm going to lose my family.
And that was the brilliance of that show. He was a man who killed other people, but he was struggling with it.
You shut the up. It doesn't concern you.
James Gandolfini had played screen heavies before in movies such as Get Shorty and True Romance. But Tony Soprano was the role he was born to play.
He was probably an intelligent, sensible, well-rounded person who's pretending to be a thug. Doing a good job of it.
James Gandolfini actually had a pebble in his shoe so that whenever he was standing or walking, it would really dig into his foot, and it would just make him so angry.
That is commitment.
You took an oath, and you broke it.
I got this rock in my shoe, you know?
James Gandolfini passed away in 2013, but he'll always be remembered for the character who changed the way we think about TV heroes.
A great man, a great leader, a great friend.
Okay, it's exciting. It's time to reveal the greatest TV character.
The best of the best.
So far, we've seen everything from comic genius to evil genius, but our next character isn't any kind of genius at all.
Not at all. I mean, he's dumb, he's fat, he's lazy, he's frequently drunk, so you'd think he's a politician.
No. Tonight's number 1 works at a nuclear power plant, and each time he causes a meltdown, all he can say is... No!
When The Simpsons got their own show in 1989, Bad Boy Bart was meant to be the star.
What? What does it say? I want to see.
But Homer soon became the audience favourite because in a lot of ways, he was the audience.
He's every man's favourite man.
So,
man, is he dumb.
What an idiot. But he's the most beautiful idiot on television. I love him.
Hits close to home for a lot of people, so that's why I think people loved it so much, because it was like, finally, someone's telling the truth.
You can't handle the truth!
For 29 years, Dan Castellaneta has been the distinctive voice of Homer.
My jaw would go out, my neck would go in, and then my IQ would drop about 70 points.
But Dan's biggest contribution to The Simpsons came with one little word.
I was a big fan of the Laurel and Hardy shorts, and there was a comedian who would come in and go, oh! So when Matt had written Annoyed Grunt, and he says, wait, could you do it shorter? So, don't!
We should really put that in the corner.
For nearly 30 years, Homer has fulfilled our dumbest fantasies while offering up his own brand of wisdom.
To alcohol, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems.
I think every dad at home was like, please let my wife watch Homer because then her standards will be lower.
I'm going to the back seat of my car with a woman I love, and I won't be back for 10 minutes.
What a great number one.
Absolutely, and it proves you don't have to be a former footballer to be stupid and incompetent on TV.
What?
You heard me.
So how come I get paid more than you then?
What?
You heard me. Well, I hope you enjoyed tonight's celebration of unforgettable TV characters because we'll be back again next time with a countdown that will shock and surprise you.
See you then. You really get paid more, do you?
Yeah, sure do.
How much are you getting?
Good night, guys.
Tell me what you're getting.
Sucker.
No, seriously, how much are you getting? Next time on 20 to 1, the world's most insane celebrity hookups. Classic couples.
These guys are like king and queen of England.
Stars who met on screen.
So they broke up, and they got back together, and then they broke up, and then got back together.
And online.
Who am I to judge love?
Flings and playthings.
They do look like they were made in a factory somewhere.
Sugar daddies and cougars.
I can't see what she sees in him. Oh, billions of dollars.
And the biggest power couples on Earth.
I hope those two kids make it. They deserve each other.
Next time on 20 to 1.